You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.
Hey everybody, this is Josh Vietti. I'm here with Nicole Dickey, with Pastor Ron Vietti, with Vincent Sierra, and we are the crew today, as usual. And there's a lot going on in the world, and so we might get into some of that. But we're going to have a discussion about, Dad. Why don't you take it from there? Because I never know.
Well, first of all, Vince, you might have broke some ribs yesterday, huh?
Yeah, Josh got me out on my mountain bike, which was good. I haven't been out on my mountain bike in a while, and I knew I wanted to take it easy. And man, when you go out in the foothills, it is crazy out there. People dump stuff out there, trash, all kinds of stuff. There's rocks. It's not clean. It's not like a mountain bike park. And we were on this trail, and I told Josh I got somebody set a booby trap for me. There was a cable going across the trail, and luckily enough, my foot got caught in that cable, and I went over the handlebars Superman. And it doesn't feel the same. When you're 40 plus years old and you go over the handlebars, it's not like being 20 plus years old and going over the handlebars. And I was telling my kids, they're like, Dad, what did you do after you crashed? I'm like, well, first of all, when I landed, I felt like mountains rumbled, it was like, boom, I hit the ground, and then I just yelled. I go, ah! And I asked Josh, I can't laugh, by the way. I asked Josh, I said, did you hear me yell? And he goes, no. And so I am under the weather today. If you can hear deep breathing in the mic, it's not Nicole, it's me. And so I'm just trying to catch my breath. And so I hurt my ribs pretty good.
Yeah, you must have been hurting. We had to ride back too. I didn't know you were hurt.
My adrenaline was, that's what I told you. It was like, my adrenaline was up, and I was going back, and halfway back through the ride, I sucked it up. I'll say, I thought I did. Anyways, you can speak to that, Josh. But halfway back, we were climbing this hill. We have to climb this really steep hill to get out. And I didn't want to get off my bike because I knew if I had to get off my bike, it was going to hurt to get back on. So I just powered through that hill, and I was dead. And I just kept smiling, like, okay, we're halfway back to the car.
How'd you sleep last night?
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
You take any Advil?
No, not last night. Because Advil can have adverse effects on different people. I'm not good with, medicines in general. And so I was trying to keep my body as normal as possible, but I wish I would have when I woke up, because, I didn't sleep good. And Hannah was like, baby, you're just moving all night. And it's like, you can't find a comfortable position,
Well, you know what? Decades ago, I had a Honda, and, we lived right across the street of the foothills. And I went out one day, now you'll love this, barefooted, riding my Honda.
Oh, my goodness.
And somebody had put out there an old rusty stovetop, and I picked it up with my foot.
Oh.
And had to go have stitches in my foot and everything.
Barefoot.
So those foothills are dangerous.
They are. No, there's a lot of stuff out there.
We need a disclaimer for this episode.
Well, real quickly, I want to start with something lighter today. If we get to our subject, great. If we don't, whatever. But here's what I want to start talking about before we get to our subject. What are some of the things that drive us? And then look at the motivation behind those things. I think periodically we need to re-examine our lives. And I want us to be honest and very candid. It's important that I think we don't lie to ourselves if we want to grow. Now, obviously, the 2 or 3 top things that motivate me is all going to have to do with Christ and my Christian life. He will always be my top priority. So let's get past that and go to some other more practical things. And number one is, why do we have a desire to be financially secure? Why is that important to me? Now, I'm tempted right away to parrot the things that I believe you want to hear me say. Jesus didn't care about money, neither do I. I'm so spiritual. And don't you know the verse? We got to always add a verse. If you want to look really spiritual, you got to add a verse. And the love of money is the root of all evil. But I want to get to the practical side and be very honest today. Very often, the people who have that opinion, and forgive me, right out of the gate, but not very often, but I think often. People who have that thing, Jesus didn't care about money, no, neither do I. I think very often those are the people that life hasn't worked out for them. And I hope it's not a little bitterness, but you got to have ambition. I'm not against that. So don't get me wrong. So I totally agree, before we go any further, that as a radical Christian person, our focus should never be on money. I get it. I don't think mine has ever been. I told my wife what I was talking about. She said, "Oh, you've never been money focused." But I still think it's important to me that I have financial security for many reasons. I'll just start it off. Because I want to be able to joyously tithe and give to the church. I don't want to be forced to do it, but I want to say, hey, I've been blessed. Here we go. I want to be able to go to a place and speak for some of these churches that are small and don't have a lot and not worry about them paying me. See, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can get my own hotel stuff. I want a nice car to drive to Vegas in. I go once a month, and I'll want something that's kind of nice where my back isn't aching when I get out. And of course, as I get older, I want to make sure Debbie's okay when I leave, and I hope I leave before her. So do you get the idea? Let's take some of these things, and let's really be honest with our motivation. The last one I'll say, and it's not spiritual at all to any degree, but I've always wanted a small ranch house. I've had a couple, and it really means a lot to me. Chickens, goats, and smelling manure. I mean, that just does it for me. I mean, I'm talking about a small one, 2 or 3 acres. And to me, if I have that, I'm able to unwind and stay focused and sharp better. And then I want some more for my grandkids. I mean, when our first grandchild was born, we had a little place, 3.5 acre in Springville. And when Tara and our newborn granddaughter, not newborn, she was about 4 at the time, her and Jim would come up for the day. They would sing a song, going to Papa's farm, going to Papa's farm, Papa's farm. And they loved I had a horse, I had a cow, I had chickens, and they loved it. And so there's different reasons for all of us. But let's kind of start the discussion with why. Why?
My neighbor has some goats, by the way, and I'm jealous of that neighbor. But I am enjoying them. We get to walk by their goats, and so it's keeping me from having to buy my own set of goats because I get to enjoy my neighbor's goats. But they do look fun. Yeah, for me, when I think about financial and wanting to be financially secure, I think about the ability to be free and the freedom that comes with being financially secure. Dave Ramsey, which some of you guys are listening, I don't know if you know who Dave Ramsey is. It's a great resource. Also, Financial Peace, our church offers it. A lot of churches all around the United States offer it. But freedom's the first thing that comes to mind. And the reason why is because if you're financially secure, then you're able to do whatever you need to do when you need to do it. And I think a lot of times we get ourselves in situations where we're not financially secure. We're bound to our job because we need the money, or we're bound to the finances because we need, and we can't just get up and go. And for me, I feel like, I want to get to a place in my life. I'm not there yet. And maybe I won't ever get there. Maybe God has me exactly where I'm supposed to be. That I'm able to say, hey, I'm sorry, but I got to leave. And finances is not the reason that will keep me or not keep me there, if that makes sense. And
that's a good one.
Being financially free doesn't mean that, just being, and I think you said these same things, Pastor, you said them in a different way. Having the freedom, you're able to go and pick up and go to Vegas and preach and be there for multiple days because you're not having to worry about, finances, or you're able to go start a church in, Vegas or you're Colorado or wherever you need to go, because finances are not keeping you from doing those things. And so even though I know you've sweated out finances when you've had to sign $1 million contract in Vegas. So anyways, buying freedom, I think being free is a huge part of that. And so I know for me, being able to pay off my house, being able to pay off my cars, it gives me the ability not to be bound by money, but being able to say, God, wherever I'll go, whatever I can do, I'll go. And,
That's a great point. I've always said, you always have to be in a place where you're not in debt. Where if God called you to go somewhere else tomorrow, you would have equity in your house, and you can't get, into debt and be free. So that's a great point.
Can I talk about tithing for a second?
Sure.
You brought it up, and it's just a side point. You used to say to me, I don't know if you remember you saying this to me a lot, Pastor, when I was younger in my 20s, but you used to say obedience is better than sacrifice. And I think you saw us running around when we were younger doing all these things. All these, we're like, God, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I think sometimes we get to a point in our Christian walk, we're getting a point in our life where, we're like, God, we're doing all these things for you, but we're not obedient in small things. And I think tithing is a start of being obedient in small things. And for me, I had to get into a place where I found myself being in rhythm in tithing, as far as giving every month and saying, I'm going to commit to this, not because I felt like I had to, but because I was being obedient. And I think part of that obedience, again, we're talking about financial freedom, is just saying, God, like, I trust you with my money. Like, hey, I'm free enough at this place in my life to say, hey, I trust you. I can give every month.
For our audience doesn't know what tithing is, it's just giving to the church and to charity and so forth and so on. Pastor Russell was going to speak on that topic in Vegas. I said, speak on the topic of the law of the first fruits. And so we believe that, we need to support the things that support our values. And so for those that maybe aren't familiar with that term.
I like this scripture, Proverbs 30:8-9 says, give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. So, I think that God, and for me, he's always taking care of my family and us and giving us exactly what we need. But he doesn't give us too much, because I think that for me, he knows that I would be too much freedom, like you say, like money is freedom.
Yeah.
Too much freedom for me would probably be not a good thing, because
Right.
I'd probably be like, I'd have 50 different ideas of what I'm going to do with my freedom. And so that's where I'm at right now. And I'm not the best with money. So maybe if I get more responsible with it, I'm trying to learn how to do that at 45 finally. And I feel like once I get more responsible with all of this, that God will open up more gates. But I don't know. It's like I think we're online. I see a lot of comments, and I see a lot of people that are bothered by pastors who are taking advantage of people. There's that comedian that did that skit. I don't know if you saw that a while back, but he was making fun of these pastors. And the thing about that skit, and I forget the guy's name. He has
I don't even want to know his name.
Anyway, the thing about that skit is he's took that from specific pastors that had been very I would say irresponsible with
Are you talking about Drewski?
Drewski, that's his name.
There you go.
Right. And it was all real stuff. And so, I think calling out behavior is one thing, but I would hope that Christians would see that and see that there's so much more beyond it. I think it's okay to call out bad behavior, but don't throw. What do you always say? That's what you're saying. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is a terrible thought, but but that's true. I mean, there's so much good in the church, and I know that with our church, we're trying to be as responsible as we can, but at the same time, I would love it if we just met in a field and didn't have a PA, and but people wouldn't come.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
It would be harder for me if I was a multi-millionaire and had a jet at my disposal to leave whenever I wanted. It would be, but Nicole, jump anytime you want. But can there be a negative side to that? As we check out our motives, I want a fancy car to let people know I'm successful. I want to just, when people see me, that man's successful. Is there a point to where I have to have my beach toys, my desert toys? I got to have 2 RVs, maybe 3 homes, one at the beach, one at the desert. I'm wearing $1,000 tennis shoes, expensive jewelry. I want a 7-bedroom house at the beach. There's only 2 of us. I mean,
brings in stress.
Yeah, I know, but we need to reevaluate, constantly reevaluate our motives behind this.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
I always think John and I mean, we have been in places where we're like, wait, I can't afford the dollar menu at McDonald's, But one thing I've learned, obviously, like when he was in medical school and we were saving every single penny, we were literally in survival mode. I am so glad I went through that to where we are now, where we do have financial freedom, but we don't live a whole lot differently than we did when he was in medical school. Only because, and you know what? I have the same amount of joy as I had when I had 0 in my bank account as when all my bills are paid, because I saw God in so many places when we had nothing. I remember being running the marriage retreat, and John and I were literally like, okay, can we even afford to go here, even if our way is paid, even running this thing? and we had to take Promise with us. And you came up and you gave Promise like $50 when we were at the Island Hotel, and you're like, go buy yourself a toy. And we were like, oh, this is the Lord, because she wanted stuff and we couldn't even afford to go get her stuff. And so Pastor Ron even blessing us those little things, and I treasure those. So like the joy was still there when we had nothing, but we knew we had to invest in obviously his schooling to be a physician so we could be financially free. But we still live a lot of the ways that we did then because we saw God in such big ways.
Well, that's so true. You just got one of the cars that I really wanted. You got it, brand new. And I wanted that car.
But can we just talk about how I drove my minivan for almost 12 years before that? Okay.
That's the point I was going to make. You got this nice car, and you say, I really still like my minivan.
I do.
And I
those
thought, you're the real deal.
Doors are so great.
The next one is, unless you have something to say about this, Josh, you have something to say about this?
Well, Josh did say too, he mentioned give us today what we need. And I do think God has us in the place where we need to be. That doesn't mean that we don't make changes in our life, if we're in debt or whatever, to get financially responsible. But the Lord's Prayer, give us today our daily bread. And I think that's enough. I think, being able to get through, looking at what you have today, looking at what's in front of you and being thankful for that, that's huge. And so if you get to your place, you can get to a mindset,
right.
Get to a place that's good.
I'll read one more scripture. This is New Testament for all of you Old Testament haters. Philippians 4:11 says, not that I am speaking, this is Paul, I am not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low. I know how to abound. And those are skills, right? To be able to be in both.
He learned
places.
contentment.
And in every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger.
Yes.
Abundance and need. And then the famous verse, 4:13, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. There are challenges when you have too much, and there are challenges when you have too little. Yep. And so, again, I like to just, I just want God to keep me in that sweet spot of need, but also
do you think he knows right where we're
hungry,
supposed to be at financially? Again, if I go back to that illustration I used earlier, if I had a Learjet at my disposal, I knew how to fly, or I had, 3 guys I hired that knew how to fly, there had probably been a time in the church where I said, heck with you, I'm out of here. I don't need you guys. But I needed the salary. And it's sad to say, there's been times I stayed because where will I get paid at? And so the second one is I want to be in shape really bad. I mean, what's my motivation behind that? Because it wasn't always healthy. I was once off track with this whole thing. I needed to re-examine myself. I came to a place where my day was ruined if I missed the gym. It was an hour-and-a-half workout, 6 days a week. Debbie would tell me, you didn't go to the gym today, so you're not going to be in a good mood. No. But I will say this, bottom line is, I wanted a hot body for some of the wrong reasons.
It's just funny you say that. Sorry.
That was when I was 20 years old, 21. I mean, I wanted everybody, especially the opposite sex, to notice me. I was tan, got a good body, and there was points in life where I thought, is some of that still any kind of motivation? And of course, it's not at this age. Forget it. When I go somewhere, a young, sexy woman looks at me and smiles, I know she goes to our church. So there sure isn't about me.
Yeah. I just want to be able to kneel down and grab my kids' toys and get back up. You know what I mean?
I can't even kneel down right now because
I know.
I was trying to put on socks this morning. It was a struggle. So.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to another one. There's another one. I want everyone to like me. Boy, I'm driven to have everybody like me. Is there a point where that can be really unhealthy?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'd say that ship sailed for us. Not everyone likes us, and that's okay. That's all right. It's bothersome. It's bothersome if you let it be, And I think that there are lessons to be learned about today's day and age about reading the comments and taking them to heart, because you have somebody who's in a mood and they don't care. They obviously don't care what they look like, or if somebody argues with them, like they probably have a lack of interaction in their own life. And so they're going to post what they're going to post. And if they get any reaction, it's going to be good for them because they have, all of a sudden they have a connection with humanity again. And you're going to let that person ruin your week.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean? Well, you know what? There's a point where that can be unhealthy. You stop telling people the truth because you fear they'll reject you.
Mm-hmm.
You compromise your values so they won't reject you. Again, I think probably all of us want to be liked by everyone, but it's not a driving factor.
I pray, and this might seem silly to some people, but I pray for God to protect my reputation, to protect, for his purposes, so that I can have a voice, so that I can speak into people's lives. And he answers that prayer.
Yeah.
Like I probably shouldn't have a decent reputation, but I think I do, just because people, I don't know. Like, no, it's God. It has to be God. It really has to be God. Like that. At the end of the day, I just pray about those things. I think God cares about those things. I really do. And I think the only way to have a decent reputation is to love God and love the people around you, just like Jesus said. But then again, at the end of the day, in human terms, Jesus didn't have the best reputation from some people. So it's not the only thing, So we have to be okay with it. If we're good with God, then we're good, right? But if we're not, get right with God. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, your mother asked me today, do you think if Paul was here today that he would be accepted? Or you might ask me, Vince, maybe I'm getting confused here, but no, the church would have rejected Paul quickly. He was way too hard.
Yeah.
And, I was listening to a pastor, I won't say his name because even that will cause some problems with some people, but he said something one day that really stood out, and I've repeated it several times in the pulpit, the 25% rule. And he says, you got to come to the understanding that 25% of the people out there might like you, but they could be talked out of liking you. Another 25% don't like you, but they could be talked into liking you. Another 25% like you no matter what. Another 25% will never like you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And so you have to accept this, because I think I see people a lot, and they are so driven, they want to be liked by everyone, that they're compromising a lot of values, man. They're paying a price for it.
So I've been given this speech that I need to work on my time management a few times in my life. Probably some by you, Dad, and some by people are like, you need to work on your time management. I'm not the most organized person in the world. The thing is, I've learned that it's not for me. It's not about time management. It's about energy management. Right? It's about energy management, because I'll have the time to do something and I'll sit down to do it, and I'm just exhausted sometimes. And I ask myself why. I think that we need to be careful about how much energy we spend on certain things. And one of those things is worrying too much about what people think. That will zap your energy. That will kill your energy. And that will leave you depleted and not able to complete the things that you need to complete, which will cause more stress, right? Which will cause you to have less self-esteem, which will cause you to look at what people are saying even more. It's a cycle. It's a very dangerous cycle. And you have to be careful. You have to be careful not to fall into that, because you only have so much. We're limited people. We're limited creatures. You only have so much energy, and you only have so much time, right? But you have to use it wisely. And if you do, then I believe God blesses that. And I believe that you're on kind of a train to success more if you really are careful about your energy.
Well, you know what, Josh? I brought out an illustration Sunday that I have used so much, and I'm not trying to overplay this illustration, but it's helped me a lot. I mean, more than you think. If you go way back in the earlier Major League Baseball days, you saw it all the time. It was a real thing that a lot of players did. If a player would be up to bat, and let's say the pitcher threw a ball, and it looked like a ball, and the umpire called a strike, you might look at that umpire for a second and go, really? But then they'd turn around and spit on the ground and say, okay, bring another one down here. Come on, let's do it. And that has helped me so much, talking about rejection on Sunday. I've got people now that mean a lot to me, or some do. I have a couple, and I seem to have been rejected by them to some degree. And I've done everything I can do to make peace, everything I can do. And so now I just spit on the ground and say, it is what it is. Got to keep on moving on. And so that illustration, I can't overstate it enough. It's really helped me. So it came from baseball.
There's, when you watch a movie and you're always rooting for the underdog. Everyone, when you're watching a movie, you watch an underdog movie, everyone's like, that person can't do it. They're going to fail. They're living, paycheck to paycheck, and it looks really, really hard for them. And then finally they stay committed to the thing they were doing, and they have a breakthrough, and everyone cheers for this underdog or this comeback story or whatever. And, I always think, if we listen to the crowd, we get to a place where, we start believing the crowd. And I think you can't believe your critics in your crowd, because then you start believing it being true about yourself, and you'll never get anywhere. I think about Noah in the Bible. God tells him to build an ark, and had he had listened to the critics, he would never, had done what he had done, And so I think we have to get to a place where if we know God has given us something and he's downloaded something into our heart, and that's a place where we have to get to, right, to know what God has for us. Then we can't be afraid of the critics, and we have to believe. We have to follow through with what we say we're going to follow through with. And a lot of people are not willing to follow through, not willing to do the work.
What's interesting about Noah too, I love this story, is he did what he did because he was obedient to God. That was the reason he did it. But he also did what he did because he was taking care of his family, the people around him, right?
Yeah.
And then it ended up saving him as well. And so I think that our focus has been flipped in our culture.
Sure.
Where it's like, I'm going to look out for myself first.
Right.
And then everything else will fall underneath. But that's not what he did. He flipped it. He said, I'm going to listen to God first, and then I'm going to take care of the people around me. And then in the end, hopefully I'll be okay. And he was.
Yeah. I think about that because I care what people think about me. And I can't, it's like ingrained in my nature. But the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to care what people think about me. I think it's a bad thing to put that before what I think God thinks about me and making sure they're in the right order. That I'm more worried about what he thinks about me when I'm walking in obedience. And then after that, I can think about what people think about me.
Well, in the mental health world too, like it's important for us to be, to think in reality, in terms of reality, like what's real. Like, are those people really thinking about you right now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I made up some really good stories.
I know. Me too.
Then they're not true.
Well, it was
Me
an
too.
illustration a youth pastor used years ago. A girl was at a high school football game. She tripped and fell down, and she was crying and hurting. He went down. She said, but everybody's looking at me. He said, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Not everybody's looking at you.
Have you seen that Instagram reel? It's like the girl that thinks everyone's looking at her, and she's like in the restaurant. She's like doing her hair and flipping it, and she thinks everyone's looking at her, and then it's like pans to the crowd, and they're eating. Like no one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Vince, you said something I want to go back and say something else about. We're not to take to heart some of the things that our critics say about us. Don't let that go to your heart. Don't. But the same token, do the same with compliments.
Yeah.
I've heard people come up for and they'll real nice. They'll compliment me a lot, and I'll go, yeah, that's your opinion.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not going to take that to heart. I'm not going to let that soak in.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because it might not be reality. You're right.
No.
They might want something from you or whatever. You're right.
Yeah.
No, it's true. They might want, like,
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking the other day of a story I heard a long time ago. Debbie says, why do you remember jokes and funny things and not, things that I say to you? But long story short, this lady, beautiful lady, broke up with a guy, and I don't like you, you're not at my level, my stage, blah, 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 blah. And so one day she wrote him a letter, and he was reading it in front of people. She said, I want you to see this letter. She says, you know what? I made a big mistake. I love you so much. I love you more than anything in the world. I don't know why I was so stupid, blah, blah, blah. If I said, and congratulations on winning the lottery. That's why she was coming.
Man.
Motives,
But,
man.
here's another good one I think we got to talk about. You feel you have to be great at everything you do. If you go golfing, if you don't do well, you don't even enjoy it. You don't enjoy being with the guys as much as you do golfing a good game. You can't laugh at yourself. If you're not good at racquetball, you don't even want to play. If you're not a great cook, if you're not in the top 20 or 30 finishers at some triathlon, if you're not the best hunter, best fisherman, both best, homemaker.
That's a good one, because I'm thinking about the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, right? Or we're not supposed to say that word. Sorry.
Why can't we say that word?
You can say
You can say it.
Why can't you say it?
We're not selling anything.
Is that just
We're
like
not making it.
is that just a wives' style? You're not supposed to say it?
I think if you're using it for promo or advertising, like if you're going to
Okay.
have an event, like
All
we're
right.
going to have a big part.
Well, anyway, let me get back to the point.
You're good.
The point was there are going to be half the guys on the field are going to be heartbroken on Sunday when the game ends. Heartbroken, crying, upset, grown men, just super upset, right? Yet they're still multimillionaires. They get to play a game for a job. They can retire at 30 years old. They have the best life ever. And some of them might have CTE and some other things, but they have a good life. They have a really good life. But yet they're so focused on winning. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Of course, we want to win. That's our culture. That's our life. Win. But winning is not everything. And I think that some of us, when we don't, on a scale that matches kind of our lifestyle, some of us get so upset when somebody else gets the job promotion or somebody else gets, recognized for their work. And it's like, man, did you do your best? Because if not, go back and do your best. If you did do your best, then just be happy with yourself that you did your best.
Yeah.
My daughter, she just started playing soccer, and she's not the best because she just started. She just started. It's her first year. She's only played a few games, but she's getting better every week. And I told her that. I said, sweetie, it doesn't matter if you win or lose today, okay? What matters is you're getting better.
Yeah, and I told her Saturday, I said, man, you came up two levels.
She's getting better every week.
You really look good out there. And I saw one of the coaches come over and say, Ollie, I never seen you play like that.
I know.
You really did good. And
yeah, it's really cool. She asked me yesterday, let's go practice, Dad. I said, okay, let's go. And I just keep telling her that you're getting better and better, and that's what matters.
And I say, word to all you coaches out there, man, you're not there to win or lose. You're there to teach the kids the game. And so, I'm sorry, Vince.
No, you're good. You're making following up the point. I wanted to put on the doors of the church, we reserve the right to get better. And I love that because I do think, there's a mentality is like, give us grace to get better, not to be the best of where we are, but just to get better, and I think that you should have that mindset. Yeah. I think everybody should be in a place where they want to get better. It doesn't mean that you're the best at anything. We're not trying to be the best. It's just, we reserve the right to get better. And I think everybody should have that in them.
Why does growth stop? It seems like people get to a point where I'm done growing. It's like, they don't say that, but you can tell by their life. It's like, I'm done. I'm not going any further. But you're never done. You're never done growing. You can always get better. Dad, I saw that in you recently. I mean, like you're at retirement age. You're not retired, but you're
kind of past it, really.
But you're still growing. And the other day you said that you told me that you haven't been as active as you want to be.
Right.
And you said I'm gonna make a change. And I saw that, and you did that. And to me, that encourages me,
right?
Because it makes me think we can always do something to get better and always do something to grow. And we're almost always fighting against the natural laws of this world. I think the biggest, physically, our biggest opponent in this world is gravity. We're fighting gravity. Vince fought gravity the other day on his bike.
I lost. Yeah.
But that, it takes effort and it takes work and it's harder every day, but you don't give up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think men are more susceptible to this than women, probably. But I told your mother again, she asked me several questions about what we were talking about today. And I kind of shared with her. She says, remember when the first time you went golfing? You broke every golf club in your bag because you were a pretty good athlete. I mean, you won the church racquetball tournament and you played city softball for 7 years, played baseball, you did all this stuff. And I went out expecting to be good at golf. And I was with these guys who were really good. They were shooting in the high 70s, and it was terrible. I broke every club in my in my bag. And they were cheap clubs that I bought at the thrift store somewhere. But I would swing and the ball would go 20 yards and I'd take a club and break it over my knee. I was hitting trees with clubs. The guys I was golfing with, well, okay. But they didn't know how to react. I broke every club in my bag and then I hitchhiked home. I left the course. I just said, out of here. And so let me ask you a question. Who stands out in your mind the most? The guy or the gal that's good at everything they do, or the guy or gal who's fun to be with? What do you think?
Obviously, the one that's fun
It's
to
fun
be
to be
with.
with. That laughs at themselves
Yeah.
and says, "You see what I just did, man? I knocked that ball on the next course, you know." And I've not been real good at it because I always took pride and I wanted to be
We like our heroes.
known for our athletic
We
ability.
like our
so-
heroes to remain at a distance,
Yeah.
right? We don't want to be best friends with them. We want to
Yeah.
be inspired by them, but we don't want to be too close. And that's just the truth. But we want to be close to the people that make you feel good. Honestly, the people that are interested in you
Yeah.
are the people that are most interesting to us.
Well, it's like we're
true.
gonna
They care
go
about me. They
golfing.
care about
We're
me.
gonna go do this Sunday or Saturday. Man, be sure and invite Tommy or Sally because they're so much fun to be with.
Yeah.
Please invite them. So again, I think it's more true for men than women, but I've wrestled with this one. I wanted to be good at whatever I did, and if I wasn't really good, and it ruined my whole day. Going, man, I wasn't good. I got to go out here and practice 10 hours, and that's bondage.
Oh, well, I
It's
think
bondage.
for women, it may not be like the game itself, but man, we compare each other up one side and down the other when it comes to motherhood or cooking or how your house looks. And we're brutal. Women are brutal when it comes to that.
Nah.
I know it's hard to think that that's true, but you know, you compare yourself to somebody else, but at the end of the day, you know that's not real.
Right.
Like, you know that there is a whole nother version behind that camera or a whole nother version behind that person, that it's not that perfect, you know, house or those perfect meals that are on the table every single night.
We had a little get together last week, and I woke up and I knew that day, the whole day, I was gonna be working hard to make sure that the house looked okay. And you know, I'm sitting there working way back in the backyard. People aren't even gonna be in the backyard. Like, what am I doing? You know, and then you get, you know, and it was a fun time. We had a good time. But like, I'm thinking to myself, why do we work so hard? These are people that already have bought in and like love us already. Like, it's not like I'm trying to impress
one
these
cares.
people. Nobody cares. You know?
Doesn't a lot of what we're talking about today come down to pride?
Yeah, and there's good pride, but yeah, it's, you know, there's pride. Like, you mow your lawn because you know, you don't want to be that guy in your neighborhood. But if you care so much about it, then there's the guy that's just so meticulous. It's out there with, not really, but with scissors, you know, cutting it. And
Right.
just
I've seen
perfect.
somebody with scissors before.
I'm halfway there, guys. I'm like in my 40s. My wife goes, "You've turned into a full. You care about your grass a lot." And I'm like, "I'm trying to get better at the grass."
That's an age
I like
thing.
it's an age thing. She's like, "You've gone full king of the hill on me."
Well, you know what? I remember that story again. I remember all kinds of stories. But one day, you know, the dad was really proud of his, or the mother was really proud of their yard. And the boys, she had like a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, they were out there running, playing football, and they were wrestling. She says, "Oh, come on, you're wrecking the yard." And the dad said, "Sweetheart, think about this. We're not growing grass, we're growing boys." There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so here's another one. You have to be the person with all the answers. Now, let me say something about this. Now, we got guys like Vince, who he does have most of the answers, and we've been all gifted with that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person that doesn't naturally have all the answers, but they want to have all the answers, and they always have to, you know what to say.
I think the day of the know-it-all is dying because anybody has a phone, can pull it up
That's
and
true.
be like, well, let's
That's
see,
true.
let's see if that's right or not, you know? And so it is different. Now it's like, now it's more like, well, I know how to Google better than you, or I can, I know how to set the prompt to chat better than you. You know, it's like, it's just, that's the way we judge each other.
My
now.
favorite will be backstage. Gennaro, who's on staff, you know, he'll ask me something random, and I don't mean to know it all, but he'll say something, and I'll say, "Oh, that's because this, and this."
Yeah, you know a lot of random.
And, well,
things.
random stuff. I don't even know why.
I do. I know why.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so he pulls up his phone and he fact checks me right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's like, "How did you know that?" And I just start dying laughing. I'm like, "It's just Google."
But you're just a smart guy.
I
and
just retain random knowledge.
But
I
you
figured it
also
out.
Yeah.
spend your evenings
oh,
just researching things for no reason.
For no
and,
reason.
And that's you. That's just what you do.
it's my
Whereas
personality, right?
I'm shooting terrorists online. You know, I'm like
Yeah.
I'm video games. I'm
I
playing
know,
video
I
games.
know,
is
I
what
know
I mean.
what
Is
you're
what I
doing.
mean. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
actually shooting terrorists, but you know.
Rainbow
well,
Six.
I'm thankful
Yeah.
for those people that are really smart and have a lot of the answers. But I'm talking again about people who feel they have to know the answers.
yeah.
And I've had people just out and out tell me the wrong thing before
Right.
because they couldn't say they didn't know.
Don't you respect it when you talk to somebody who has actually lived life, been successful, and you ask them and they say, "I don't know. Let me get back to you on that." It's like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
I know. Isn't that
didn't
cool?
know?
Well, you know, I had a
It's honesty.
doctor appointment coming up, and I spoke with a nurse, and I said, "You know what? I probably want to cancel this appointment because you didn't get the right blood tests in. Oh, we did do it. And she went on, no, they're right here before me. You have all the right stuff. I'm telling you now, you don't need to talk to anybody else. 10 minutes later, I called back and got a different lady, and she says, oh, you were right. She wasn't right. Why couldn't you just ask someone? Just ask them. You don't have
And there's
to
a
have the
difference.
answers.
There's a difference between people that genuinely want to have knowledge and give it. And I think, Vince, you're more like that. Like you genuinely want to have the information for when it comes up, and it always comes up. There's other people though that want to put you in your place, and that is really hard to. That's hard to handle. That's hard to swallow. Like if you're that type of person, I really don't want to be around you, and that's the truth. Like I just don't want to be around people like that. People that like are so-called gatekeepers, people that want to keep you out of their world or keep you out of a place because they think that they are in charge of whatever. Gosh, man.
Well, you see that in the church, right? I love that you
worst.
brought up gatekeepers, because you see people in the church that, I know it all. I figured it all. I figured the Bible completely out.
Yeah, if you don't know everything that I know, then
Right.
you're wrong and you're
Right.
going to hell.
All right.
What?
What? Yeah.
Then you get people like me. Now, I was very young, probably 19, 20, and there was this guy that came in and out of our life, and he knew everything. And I didn't think he really knew everything, but he made us think he did. So one day I told I forgot who it was, somebody with me, and I said, watch this. I went, hey, have you heard about the Wallabuggy bird? I made it up. And he goes, oh, yeah. Now, it can be found in Africa. It can do all this. I thought, you
Oh, that's
idiot.
hilarious.
I made that up. There is no such thing. But that was before you could Google.
I'm also that
Right?
person. They're called trolls. I have my moments.
Well, I mean, you brought up Kirk Cameron and his recent debacle of talking about hell, whatever, and people, they get so fired up. They're like, "Why you can't question that?" He's not questioning the Bible. He's questioning our understanding of the Bible.
Yes.
And yes, you definitely can question our understanding of the Bible. I always say, like, when you get to heaven, or I know it's not a gate situation, but we've always talked about Peter being at the gate, right, of heaven. It's not like that, but let's say it is. You get there, and he's not going to say, I'm going to give you a test real quick. I'm going to give you a competency test, and if you pass it, you'll get in. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And no matter how smart somebody is, they can be the smartest person in the whole world. There's still a lot of information that you don't know. I think I know why people get so mad about it. I think people, they set their life up in a way to where it's like, I am going to live a certain way and I'm going to do the right thing. And they end up giving up, some of their freedoms in life. And so if they've lived that way for a long time, they feel like they're missing out on other things. And so somebody calls them out on whether the basis of their belief that they've lived their entire life on is true. They're going to be so mad because they've lived their life based on something that might not be true, based on something that could be a lie.
Right.
And they're going to fight you to the death. It comes down to confirmation bias. People want to hear a confirmation of what they already believe.
Yes.
Because it makes them feel like they've made good choices in their life.
Right.
And if they don't hear that, if they hear the opposite, it's like they're so offended. Whereas Vince and I think we've developed this like idea around life that if I'm wrong, I want to be corrected.
Right.
Because I want to know the truth. I want to know what's right. And I'm okay to change my belief if it lines up more with the truth of the Bible and the truth of God. I am 100% not going to be so rigid to hold on to a belief that's not true.
Church can't come to a place where we can't ask questions, where young people can't come into the doors and ask questions about faith. Then what do we come to? I mean, what are we doing? Because you have a whole generation of young people that have 1,000 questions about the Bible.
But it's
and
so
they wanna
silly.
know.
They sit around a table and discuss things that can't fully be understood. It's like a bunch of ants that get together at a table and say, I know that airplanes exist. No, they don't. They do not exist.
Right.
Yes, they do. No, they don't. They don't understand what they're talking about.
Right.
And that's us. We're a bunch of ants, man. We understand what the Bible says, and we understand that life with God, I understand that life with God is the best way to live because it just is. I know this from experience. I know this from the life I've lived. I've been fortunate enough to be around people to teach me these things, and I'm bought in. I'm 100% bought in. But I'm more bought in because of the times that God has saved me from myself.
Yes.
That's why I'm bought in. I'm not bought in because someone explained it to me well. Like that's nice when somebody explains it to you well. That's great. I love it. I'm a Bible teacher, so I appreciate when people appreciate that I've taught well. But that's not why I'm in. I'm in because God has been there for me. Period.
Here's the last one, and this won't affect you as much as me. You might be entering this realm of life, but why do many of us have a real tendency to try to stay as young and cool as we can be, no matter how much we age? Well, come on, let's be honest. I think we're being honest in this podcast today, but why? I don't want to go to the place, I know I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, but be an old guy with my shirt unbuttoned down to my navel with big gold chains around my neck driving a sports car. I don't want to do that. That's painful, okay? But is there a tendency where we go, I want to stay young and cool, and there's a place where that might be a little bit healthy.
I think the coolest thing in the world is when somebody's just happy with themselves.
Yes.
And
yes.
confident. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, yeah, I've got imperfections. It is what it is.
But I still struggle. I'm getting older. And I remember a while back, I was going up on a stage and two people came to help me. And I go, no, I don't like this. I really don't like this. When I come back out, I'm going to jump off the stage to show you I'm not getting that old. And so, again, it goes back to pride, ego. But people do struggle with this. I saw a person the other day, and I'm not going to say too much, but they were really trying to stay young and cool, and I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm gonna. That person might be listening.
Well, the funny thing is when you're young, you are young and you're vibrant, but you have no money, and so you get older, and you get to a point where you can buy that car, but you're old and you're not as cool. So it's like it's a funny thing. It's all facade, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
40s are cruel. I mean, we're
40s
all like
are
three of us
interesting.
are sitting here and there, and man, as for women, I mean, everybody's getting all these things done in their 40s, and I talked to my husband, and he's like, "Nope, no, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that."
About like doing their faces and stuff.
Yeah, like they're doing and even the small things. Like somebody came up to me the other day and said, "I would love to get a hold of your eyebrows," and I thought, "Oh my goodness, what's
that would
wrong?"
hurt my feelings.
No, I laughed.
So
at
I was
it.
at the church the other day, and somebody said, "Hey, I can burn those spots off your skin if you want my face." I'm like, "Thanks,
They're not bothering me."
thanks." I think, but no, I know what you're saying.
But it is hard. You
I
find
don't
those
think the
little
40s are
wrinkles
cruel.
and-
I actually enjoy my 40s. It's funny. I was laughing the other day. We have a group chat with some friends that are in high school. And they're just like, we're in our 40s, and there's this meme. I think I sent it to you, Josh, but it's these 40-year-old guys are in a car, and they go up to these kids, and they say, they go up to this random kid. They don't know him, and they said, "Hey, do you want some candy?" And the kid freaks out. He's like, and then the next clip, it's the kid takes off running, and they're chasing him in the car, and they're like, "I can't believe we're in our 40s. We're the new adults." And I was just dying laughing because I was just like, man, I'm enjoying watching my
Absolutely.
kids, grow, and
my daughter called me
fruit.
cringe the other day.
Yeah, well, our kids
I'm
say
like,
all
what does that
kinds
even
of stuff.
mean?
Yeah.
Cringe? I'm cringe?
You're
Like
cringe.
I gross you out? No,
Yeah.
Dad, you're just cringe. Well, what does that mean
What does
to
that
you?
mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I love those progressive commercials about don't become your parent.
I'm
parents.
those- I'm
They're
all
I
those people.
love those.
Yeah.
I'm all of them.
I am too.
I'm all of them. I talk to people in restaurants. Hannah's like, "Oh, that's really good. I had it last week." The restaurant. Or if I'm
Yeah.
in Home Depot, I'll start a random. My kids hate it.
I
when
just
go-
saw one where the guy comes up to guys, they're working construction, road construction.
Yep.
And they're like, does this have to do with that work that's going on at the middle school? And the guys are all, I don't know.
Yep.
Like, what do you mean?
We watch those progressive
Talking about
commercials.
so
Your
funny.
mom goes, "That's you. That's you."
Yeah.
And
Well,
It's not just you. It's me too. Don't
I
worry.
appreciate the age. I don't know what age it is. It's probably different for everyone, but you get to a certain age where you care more about connection than you do about how you look.
now
and I love that.
I went home and momentarily I was bothered Sunday when my wife said to me Sunday night, she said something about, I said, "Esteban's so nice, security." When I went out, one of my pant legs was up a little bit, and he pushed it down. And then my wife said this. I wish he wouldn't have. He said, "Maybe you preached that way all the sermon." And I went and looked. Sure enough, one of my pant legs was up about 3 inches higher than the other one, and it almost ruined my day. Going, "Oh, that's so embarrassing."
You're like a mid-2000s gangster.
Yeah, one pant leg up, another one not.
And nobody else cared because your message was so
I know.
good. And that's what's crazy. I wouldn't, and that because everyone was tuned into what you're saying. So it's like that stuff like that. It's like you just.
Debbie said, "No one's going to quit the church over it, so stop worrying."
Sometimes it is attractive to see people that just like they're disheveled, but it's just they just don't care.
Well, Duck Dynasty, those guys are all disheveled, man, and people love them.
Yeah,
I showed up one day here at the Bible study. And I wear visors a lot because I like to keep my hair and I want it to breathe. So anyway, long story short, I got home and no joke, it looked like a rooster. That hair was sticking straight up. I never looked in the mirror. And doggone if I didn't turn around and do the same thing the next week. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have my pants legs pulled down before I come out of the back room next time. It did bother me. I went back
I think you should
and I played the
both
clip
up.
over 3 times trying to find out, oh, that looks horrible.
Just pull them both up on Sunday and say,
I
guys,
will.
I preached like this last service. So
So I was going to make a match.
So I'm just make a match.
But don't we love the authenticity? It's what you said, Josh, earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of goes back to the whole thing, Pastor, of like people who look like they have the game perfect or their life perfect. Like, I'd rather be with somebody who is authentic and even a little bit of a mess because I can relate to that.
Yes.
I get thrown off. One of my biggest issues is I hate it when I say something that is a little bit wrong. Like I get a fact wrong here and there because I do. My mind gets jumbled pretty easily, and so I'll be saying something. I'll forget it. I'll say a verse is a verse and it's a different verse. And because whoever came up with the verse system, gosh, God bless you. What's that verse again, Pastor? I don't know. It's somewhere in the New Testament, I think.
Yeah, right.
No, it's in the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. It gets all jumbled, man. But I get really hard on myself. But Vince is always trying to help me just relax and say. And you. So you said we did a podcast thing or like a video thing recently.
Yeah.
And I was like in my head a little bit about it. And it's the imperfections that actually stick out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually those are the things that make us human. Those are the things that make it interesting. Have you ever heard something that was so polished, it turns you off?
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, is that AI? No, that's just that person who tried really hard to be perfect.
Public speaking can be brutal.
Oh, it's hard.
Because so often I'm tired. Maybe like Vegas, I'm on my 3rd service, and I'm thinking about, I'm trying to formulate my next thought, and I use the wrong word. I might say Joan instead of Noah or something, and it's just going to happen. And I've even seen the best of the best do it occasionally.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this topic today, and we don't have time to get into the topic that we had originally planned, but there's next week. There's always another week.
I do think one of the healthier things we can do is beyond your own health, be healthy, take care of yourself to an extent, but stop worrying about yourself and start thinking about how can I serve others? How can I serve God? How can I, have it more of an outward focus? I think when we do that and we're mindful about our hour to hour day, it takes a lot of the stress away, because a lot of the anxiety you guys are feeling, a lot of the depression you're feeling, a lot of the frustration you're feeling is because you're just ruminating. You're thinking about the things that you don't like about yourself too much, and it does affect you, and it's needless. It's needless worry.
I went through a stage in ministry where I would let the littlest things bother me so much I wouldn't even sleep at night.
Yeah.
I think, oh, I'm quitting this job. I'm quitting. I've never asked for this. I don't want to be a public speaker. And even James said, when you speak a lot, you're going to say a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game.
We should talk about that one day, the pitfalls of perfectionism.
Oh,
It's a
boy,
thing.
I'm a pro on that.
Yeah, me too, unfortunately.
Oh, you must have inherited it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think we're into this far enough that we really can't start another subject right now.
Yep.
So last thing you want to say about any of this stuff, about looking, re-examining the things that drive us and the motives behind it? I think that's very healthy. You need to probably do this every once in a while.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's good to, like I said, look at your life, look at your behavior, see if it's lined up, and then move on.
Yeah.
Don't
Move on. Spit on the
let it
ground
go.
and move
Get
on.
stuck
Let
there.
it go.
Yeah, spit on the ground and move on. Again, I don't know if that illustration will help anybody out there like it helped me, but I'm still using that over and over again. Isn't that funny how little things like that, it's just worth so much to me. I have to sometimes I'll actually spit on the ground and go, come on, baby, throw me the next one. Okay, you might have got me on that one, but I dare you to throw me another one.
At least we know what's going on if we see him spitting on the ground somewhere.
That's
We're
right,
like,
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we're out of here. We love you guys. If you have any topics, we're going to say it again. Please share them with us. We'd love to speak on the topics you want us to speak on. So, have a great day and be safe out there.
All right. See you guys.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright. The kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.